I'm going to give you a demonstration of braking. I'm going to show you how you can do an emergency stop, and I'm going to show you just how quickly you can stop a motorcycle. Very simple exercises. All I'm going to do is I'm going to ride from here, just up there. It's only 30 yards or so away, maybe not that. U-turn back, and when I get to exactly this point, there's a grid on the floor down here, so I know exactly the same point. I'm going to apply my brakes, and I'm going to try and stop as quick as I can. You just see how long it takes me to stop. So here we go, over the edge. Love these off-road bikes. Now then, we won't be going very fast. First gear, second gear, brake now. Just about managed to lock up the back wheel there, but that wasn't really that impressive. So let's get off the bike. I've got a little bar here. This is my measuring stick. I'll put that there, and that's how long it took me. What's that? 12 foot, 14 foot, something like that. Not very impressive, and not really a highly scientific experiment, but the point I'm trying to make is that on a machine like this is 10 years old now, this bike, it's an old machine, the brakes basically are crap. And why are the brakes crap? Because the biggest problem that you have with brakes on any machine that's a few years old are the brake hoses themselves, these bits, because they're rubber. And what happens, and you don't notice it happening really because it's a gradual thing, it happens over a period of time, is it goes soft. The walls of these hoses go soft, and when you apply the brake, instead of all the fluid going down and getting all the force in the caliper and gripping the disc and stopping the bike, the walls of the hoses give, they expand, they go squidgy. You'd never know it by feeling them, but they actually do under pressure from the brake levers. So the brakes are rubbish. So the best thing you can do to a machine of this age to improve the brakes is to fit some new hoses, some braided hoses. We've all seen them before, haven't we? So I've got a nice set of braided hoses, and I know just the man to do the job. I'm talking, of course, about our very own bike doctor, Gary Thompson. Gary's first job was to make sure that the new hoses would actually fit. We chose to use Goodrich hoses, which we bought as a complete kit at a cost of £25 per hose. So in this particular machine, which has a very simple braking system consisting of just a single disc at the front and rear with just one hose on each, that came to £50. First then we need to remove the old rubber hoses, and because brake fluid is corrosive, it's important to cover any areas which may get splashed when the old fluid is drained out. Paintwork is particularly vulnerable to damage from brake fluid, so again we need to protect it when the hose is removed from the fluid reservoir. With the old hose completely removed from the machine, detach the rubber clamps. These will be needed to secure the new braided hoses in position. You'll notice that one end of the new hose has a slight kink. This is the lower end, and this attaches to the caliper. When feeding in the new hose, it's important to make sure it follows the same route as the old. And this should ensure that there are no nasty kinks or bends which could affect the braking system. Our brake line kit included new banjo bolts and crush washers, and these must be used when connecting the new hose to the caliper and the reservoir. Make sure though that all surfaces are perfectly clean before any connections are made. And then with the new hose clamped in place and both ends tight, the new brake fluid can be added and the system bled to remove any air. Before riding the machine, we need to check that the new brake line doesn't snag or become kinked when the steering is moved from lock to lock, and also that the hose doesn't become over tight when the front suspension unloads. Replacement of the rear brake line follows exactly the same procedure as the front. And that's all there is to it. It's no big, massively technical task changing the hoses. What we've also done on this machine is we've put new pads in it, front and rear, and it's a very simple machine, as you know. Single disc front, single at the back, so set of pads, about 30 quid they've cost us for this. Just under 30 quid actually. 50 quid for the pair of hoses, so we spent 80 quid. Was it worth it? Has it made a difference? Well, my marker is down there, so you know how long it took me to stop last time. Let's see if we can improve it. Here we go. Spin it round. I can't go very fast. Just get the first gear, second gear. And there we go. Well, I don't know about you, but I think that's quite impressive. All right, this isn't very scientific, I know that, I said that at the start. It's not a scientific experiment, and you might think that's not a big difference, not a big improvement, but it is, as that improvement there, as a percentage of the overall stopping distance, is quite a big percentage. And of course, the faster you go, the bigger the difference in the before and after becomes. if you understand what I mean. And if you look very carefully then, we might just show it you again, I managed a tiny little stoppie, which is not easy on a bike like this when the front end dives as soon as you brake, and certainly I couldn't do that before with the old hoses.